Corki's packages and Aatrox's power spikes there, Xayah will be able to disengage against almost anything that Damwon can throw against him. Rakan can flank and look for engages. Aatrox and Rakan together are such a big threat. Damwon need to hit a mid-game where they're even or ahead, otherwise this could be such a disaster against this Corki composition. And if Aatrox gets ahead at all, then Lava's just sitting back and shooting rockets. He's having a free game. He's got such a great front line here. To be totally frank, I'm a big fan of Fred Brion's comp so far here. I like their draft a little bit more.
I 100% agree. I don't even like it a little bit more. I like it a lot more, Wolf. I think that it is far more cohesive, and I don't like drafts that, especially in best of fives, that rely on you being the ones in control throughout the game, right? If your composition relies on you making the first move, you getting all of the priority, then it's very dangerous when nerves can be this high, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Giving yourself the scaling out is really, really important. And Fred Brion had that one in spades. Not necessarily on the top side of the map, and there was an R5 Aatrox. So welcome back. Very much enjoyed the R5 Aatrox. He's only ever been picked fifth on both sides. It's going to be the third time that we've seen the Aatrox, but here we are. The first game of playoffs. Damwon taking on Fred Brion. Fred Brion here for the very first time. Damwon looking for their 4th LCK title in a row.
And I want
to win 2 more of these at least.
I want to go back to what you were saying about the nerves, because SHOWMAKER has shown so many times too, whether he's trying to prove something or if he is frustrated, he pulls out the Lucian pick. We've seen it so many times, even when it didn't necessarily make that much sense in the past. It's been one of those champions where he's extremely dominant on, or he falls behind early from some big aggressive attempts to get solo kills or 2v2 kills, where he falls behind then really loses momentum. And in this game as well for Damwon, like you said, if you play a comp that's so reliant on having full control the whole time, if you lose it, you might be losing for 30 minutes before you lose a game. And that's what gets into your head. That's what messes with your brain a little bit, is actually just playing this kind of unwinnable it feels game for so long. And with this Corki composition, Fred Brion are almost certainly sending us there, as we've seen throughout the entire early part of this season.
And the only real anomaly that I'm seeing on the side of Damwon is a Bertle that, if he gets ridiculously fed, can just execute Lava, and then the Corki is no longer a problem. And Zeri exists. And currently, Doc Dam has only been allowed to play this one once. It was a win. No one let him play it ever again after that. And this guy has been a little bit subdued, I'd say, in his performance so far, as SHOWMAKER is going to be able to get the double tap onto Lava, who's going to take the long way around. Might miss experience on one of these, but no, it looks like the damage spread is going to be enough for him to get back.
Yeah, not going to be too big of a deal, but yeah, it's really interesting too, because Lava has been, one of our resident Corki players. Like, he was playing it before everybody else.
He's been playing it for like 4 years professionally.
And this season, he was playing it before everyone else, and then he was also playing it after everyone else. Like, after everyone else was like, no, it's nerf, we're not going to play it, he kept playing it. As SHOWMAKER, obviously very famous for his Lucian, and as you can see, his win rate is extremely high here too. Really iconic champions for these two players. One of them a little bit more relevant in recent times, though, in meta, and that's the Corki. But the Lucian is going to guarantee you that early prio, which is so important. This is what we were talking about in the mid-jungle 2v2s.
Yeah, it's just getting the most out of it is going to be the most important thing. As on this patch, Zeri 6-1 so far, 85.7% win rate, but we've seen Zeri's picked in ways that have been so much better, especially later in the season, not allowing the Caitlyn's to be up, the Karmas to be up, and Fred Brion haven't got any of these classic answers that we've seen to the Zeri, and so she might be able to pop off, but I'm just worried that it is a bit of a handshake to a short-range carry champion, and there is a Corki in the game.
Yeah.
And Corki's very long-range late-game carry champion.
It's really interesting because I love the way that Damwon started this draft. When they banned the Rise, they took away the Aphelios, and they were like, okay, well, now you have to ban Twisted Fate, or we're going to get the Zeri, and you've already chosen to ban the Caitlyn and the Karma. It looked like Fred Brion were hoping for Damwon to take a different priority pick and then get the Zeri themselves, but it just didn't work out that way. And I like the start of the draft for Damwon especially because of that, because they really set this up nicely for them, but the rest of it feels like it was very freestyle, whereas Fred Brion had a clear plan here.
Yeah. Well, Morgan gets word that there is a polar bear heading towards the top side of the map. Very much like that Canyon chose his own champion. this time around.
Yes.
Of course, if you've seen Damwon Kia's Twitter, you'll know that Canyon is a polar bear. It's just how it goes.
That's just who he is.
Cheetah recall here for Dom on the bottom side as now Canyon's going to get the Umbral dash and actually flashes in, but Bertle wasn't on the same page.
Oh man, that is a huge overextension to actually lose Flash this early like that. Now Umpty's over here.
Yeah, he's going for the counter gank. Morgan actually able to press up again, and that was miscommunication on the Damwon Kia side.
Bertle was not ready to follow up on that, and that's a flash down here for Canyon. Of course, using his stun early too means there's no fault. Bertle can't be like, oh, okay, never mind, I will go in with you. It just doesn't work anymore. So Umpty could just kind of hover around here. The counter gank timing really nice if they had committed in after that failed flash engage.
Look at the wave as well. Morgan holding it really beautifully. Kellen coming in to try and get deep vision, but it is going to get stopped there by Delight as Bertle desperately trying to get this wave towards the turret. Umpty just going to push him away. This last minion is going to go wide for Bertle.
Yeah, that controller is so valuable too for Umpty. Allowed him to know the entire time he was unseen and could surf around that area. Does, of course, eventually reveal himself, but man, that's a early flash down for a jungler that's so reliant on it in the Volibear. It's going to give him the guaranteed stun engage. He's not going to have that anymore. Nice little tricky fake recall here from Bertle.
Yeah. But Morgan's just going to teleport back, so not going to miss out on too much. Just let's have a look at this one from Canyon's perspective.
Oh. It was like, oh man, oops, basically.
Yeah, it's not it.
Aigo, what he said in Korean is basically like the expression for like, oh god, you know.
Yeah. I was actually talking about this just the other night, and the translation is grunting sometimes when it comes to like subtitles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hilarious.
Well, they will get the first Drake. They have enough priority here on the bottom side into this early Xayah, and the pressure is real in the mid lane with the Lucian pick, but they're still going to get this first Drake, so I don't want to overreact or get, too into the weeds on that flash play from Canyon, because it was definitely a mistake and definitely worrying sign, not only for this best of 5, but potentially future ones if everyone's not on the same page. But it won't end up being too impactful at the moment.
Nope. And currently, we're just seeing how powerful this anime plot armor is for Fred Brion. So far, it's gone pretty well. Delight got his Rakan, as you can see, 61.3 win rate, percent win rate. And he's been very impressive with a lot of the ways he plays out engages, the ways he also plays alongside Umpty is once again, SHOWMAKER diving onto Lava. Gets over the wall, but thankfully there is a wall there. And Lava is going to be able to outrange the culling this time around.
Umpty's here.
In he goes. Flash is available for SHOWMAKER. Doesn't have to use it. He relentlessly pursues his way out. I guess he was pursuing his own turret.
Pursuing an escape.
Yes, pursuing a way out of the sticky situation.
He was granted that, as you could see that he has taken a pretty significant CS lead, despite not getting the kill there. Like, he's still got a nice lead. But how relevant will this advantage be in 10 minutes' time is the real question. Is we've seen so many other champions punish Corki in the early game a little bit less severely in terms of CS numbers, but can force you to build items.
It feels like you have to kill him. You have to get actually noticeably ahead in these lanes.
Exactly.
To really cause any ruckus. And it looks like Damwon will be able to get plates for their Zeri. So this is another win condition, right? Is Damwon Kia just putting all of their eggs into the Dokkan basket and making sure that he can carry as this game goes on. An accelerated Zeri is a very scary thing.
And, oh, here we go.
Yep, going for a little bit of an engagement as Umpty was roaming his way down, but don't have to overly commit Delight, no manner at all.
SHOWMAKER
cleared this one out very quickly.
He had a bigger CS lead than he does now, because in part due to the fact that he didn't take teleport, because that's how much he wants to, as you say, get the kill. Like, you kind of have to, and he took Ignite here, and he really wants to just solo kill Lava and prove something here. He saw those votes, and he was like, man, a few people had him ahead of me. I'm going to have to prove something here, but
I'm a bit scared being on this desk. I'm in the same room right now, and I may have voted like that.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, God.
But what I was going to mention is something that Valdez mentions all the time, is that if you pick Syndra, for example, or even Orianna sometimes into this matchup, you could force out a Hex Drinker. But Lava is not only, only going to find himself less than 10 CS behind so far in this game, hasn't been killed, hasn't had to flash, but also doesn't have to build a Hex Drinker on his way to his items, and the item spikes is going to hit. So that's one weakness of the Lucian pick into this Corki as well. Yep. This isn't going to slow you down as much, unless you do get solo killed, unless you misplay it, but Lava has shown so much respect.
Well, Umpty might actually find Dokdom here roaming in his own jungle. He is going to blast cone his way over. slinks into the mist, and Doctime is going to get zoned away at least a little bit from this turret on the bottom side, and this is just going to be a handshake. Fred and Breon say, we don't need Shelly. We're just going to use our Xayah to take the plates herself. As Umpty is also dealing with these Krugs on the bottom side immediately. The Rift Herald will go down into the mid lane though, and a Corki's turret is very, very valuable. Only one plate has been taken, and so far, Darmonkey are very happy with what this has netted them.
Yeah, if they can fully remove it, then it is massive because, you know, this is going to be a lot of gold going over to SHOWMAKER and it needs to be relevant fast. Get that Gale Force online.
Yeah, Umpty now going to make his way in. Should be able to get an E out of SHOWMAKER, who just sidesteps and doesn't actually have to use it.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the problem with Viego lockdown on the mobile champions.
Yeah, well, here's the World Ender. Bertle finds the backflip as Morgan has been lit on fire. Can he find it? The perfect execution's going to come out and Morgan flashes.
That was like both Morgan making an error with that second Q and also Bertle not trusting his damage. Being like, I'm not actually sure. It backs away. They both end up living here.
Yep.
So flash down for Morgan. Ignite, of course, utilized there for Bertle. Bit of a shaky start here for Bertle.
You can feel the nerves,
yeah.
I think, on both sides, right? You could even feel it when Canyon made that first gank in the top side of the map.
And this is, you know, of course, kind of technically Bertle's first playoff as a starter, right? And this is an experience he'll have as second Q here for Morgan. It does not connect, as you can see, it goes wide there. Bertle goes back in, and then when the flash comes through, he actually runs out there. I think could have pursued that a little bit further and probably
the
had the
perfect
kill
execution,
guaranteed.
I think, just kills him if the flash doesn't come in. So you're probably very happy with that as Bertle, having a look at it for a second time.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're still happy with the exchange. I think the kill was possible. They played, you know, a little bit more aggressively there, but either way, still find yourself up a summoner spell. The Ignite is going to come back much faster, much easier to get that one. Flash more relevant. Is Fred and Breon going to group up on this Drake right now?
Yeah, we're starting the Cloud, as they do manage to take it. So the first Drake for Fred and Breon will go over. Hex Drake was already taken, and we get an Infernal Soul for our first Dragon Soul of the playoffs thus far. Lava has himself a package that he didn't need to use in order to secure that dragon. It might tell a bit of a story as to why Darmonkey didn't decide to fight for that one.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're exactly right. Don't want to force that one. You're already up a Drake. The problem is, though, that if Fred and Breon are even on Drakes and it's Infernal Drake, where they're going to be trying to speed along, get that one up as soon as possible for their Corki, who's going to love it. It's a problem for Darmonkey that they can't sit Drake fights out because they need to be fighting. They need to get ahead. But that's the problem with this comp into an Aatrox as well. Like, the Aatrox is happy to fight these out, you know, in the future. He's about to start getting his spikes online.
Well, good stun onto Kellen. Takes a lot of damage here as Lava feels like he has enough. There's the flash. The quickness was there, and that is going to be first blood. Going over to Umpty. Another fight on the top side of the map as the backflip comes in. Perfect execution is not quite perfect enough. And Bertle's down to 100 health. The Lord is now pressing down on this turret, but he will relinquish his control for now, opting in for a back.
And they both have teleport, so close call once again here in this top matchup. Gotta say, the nerves, whoever wears off with the nerves first is going to get a huge edge, I think, in the rest of this best of 5, because clearly they're both feeling it a little bit right now. But you know who's not? Is Delight, who once again on his recon makes the flash engage happen, picks off Kellen there. And that's a kill going over to Fred and Breon, the first blood of this game, going over to Viego. And he's already outpacing the Volibear in the jungle right now. You can see he's 10 CS up right now. And I gotta say, like, it's very slight. But the lead here for Fred and Breon is significant. As watch this engage from Delight, comes over on the flank, flashes for the knockup, and that's a guaranteed kill. 400 gold going over to Umpty. But this is the Fred and Breon lead that's the scariest. Like, the Fred and Breon will take a lead like this and hold, like...
If they're winning in the early game, you know something has gone wrong for the other side, because this is not a team that's used to being ahead. And from the start of the game. Also,
we saw those stats earlier on the pre-show. Like, this is a team that at 15, at 20, 25 is often like negative 40 gold in wins. Like, that's where they sit. And look at the graph right now.
It's the opposite of the Kwandong Freaks, you know? They're the team that needs to be ahead early. Fred and Breon almost look like they're in their comfort zone if they're losing early. That's kind of how it works. And they've crafted themselves a comp that should be getting pushed in, especially in that mid lane. Top side of the map, certainly there's some scaling advantages. Doctime and Kellen have laned very well against Henna and Delight and have been able to secure that priority as well. But Canyon, on primarily this early game jungler, Umpty on a champion that does want to try and do a bit of scaling, but also is required to get a bit of help in the early game and now has first blood.
This control ward is super important that's going to spot Umpty because SHOWMAKER wanted to get this turret. He has his Gale Force online right now, maybe trying to bait this a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Not going to commit, and they will save the turret here. Umpty with a really nicely timed roam over here. I guess gank you could call it if he was going to go for it, but takes a visit over to threaten SHOWMAKER. The turret survives, which is really critical because if he actually gets that with his Gale Force that he has, can push the Corki out, then it becomes a lot more difficult for Lava to farm. So having that turret is so essential.
Yeah. SHOWMAKER very far ahead right now based on the fact that he's picked up 4 of these plates. Bit of that gold went over to Canyon, of course, because Shelly was slammed into that turret. But as you can see, even with the massive difference in plates, SHOWMAKER's not going to quite find that. Cannon doesn't quite get here in time. But even with the huge difference in plates, it's 100 gold. That first blood certainly helping out, as now Canyon pays another visit towards his top side. Morgan is going to respect it. Kellen's over here as well, and there's a lot of vision for Damwon Kia in that river.
What's so interesting for me about Duckdom and Kellen in this series is, you know, they did a lot to get this Zeri pick, and, you know, it's his second time playing it this season, which is crazy to me. But it's insane to think that, like, Zeri doesn't seem like a champion he'd be strong at because it is so weak in the laning phase. In the 2v2 is where Duckdom is most famous for his AD carry play. His Aphelios where he gets ahead, gets all the plates bottom, gets all the plates top, you know, with Kellen. And Zeri is a champion that doesn't really do that. You know, you're going to be 0-0-0, you're having a good time. And that's just not really Duckdom's playstyle. So I'm excited to see how he performs here once again on this champion they prioritized so highly in the draft and set up a really nice path for him to get it. And so far, so good for him in terms of his item path, but he hasn't been able to pop off and show his normal Duckdom prowess in the early parts. In fact, is going to lose his turret here.
Yep, and of course, like, you're not supposed to. As the Zeri, it's going to be a couple of items. You know, 3 is the dream. For the champion is Kellen, going to put a bit of pressure onto Lava, gets the Valkyrie out at least, and that will secure the turret. Here in the mid lane, Damwon Kia now just trying to push down on the map as SHOWMAKER has found a light. Good battle dance is going to save him his flash that is only just coming up now, actually. And Damwon, they just moved themselves into the river here, bottom side, and they're looking to grab 2 neutral objectives, one after the other.
Morgan has flash, and he's here, and he's ready to fight. This is going to be such a difficult fight for Damwon Kia to take, but they need to get this early control over this game. Drake pace is so important.
Yeah, Lava does not have his... Okay, never mind. Package unrequired because the Drake is just going to get smoked by Umpty.
This is the worst...
I guess it's about that easy.
This is the worst scenario for Damwon Kia because if you lose Drake but win a subsequent team fight, you're like, okay, well, that's fine because we got the gold we needed to actually continue to further snowball. If you get neither a fight nor the Drake here, and Fred and Brown are like, oh, thank God we walked out of this one alive. Like, we actually just got that last smite hit, and we're going to evacuate the premises. That's exactly what you want. And, like, the setup here for Damwon Kia for this Drake play was so phenomenal. Like, SHOWMAKER came mid. He's going to take out the turret. They're going to look for a pushback onto Lava. They almost get Delight. Then they also have Prio. But it's the power of the Aatrox. I think they're so scared of committing in hard on these low-range champions right now into this Aatrox who is going to start popping off. He has his Gore Drinker. This is the big spike, right?
Yeah.
For so many champions, but for Aatrox in particular, he has so much lifesteal. He gets gained so much from this. It's so difficult to fight against him in these early skirmishes.
Well, now Lava is going to be wary of the positioning of SHOWMAKER, and man, Fred and Breon are not like playing into any of these baits. As I say that, I may have just cast a curse the heck out of him. There is SHOWMAKER, but immediately Delight's going to dive on top of him. So much damage comes through as the Solar Flare goes down. The Ignite is sticking, though. Goodbye, SHOWMAKER. 2 kills to Fred Breon. Kellen might be going down as well as Umpty. Going to get stunned up, but the red buff or the challenging smite are going to lock down the kill. Ulti comes through from Canyon, who's trying to help out, and Bertle with the perfect execution is good, but the world is going to end for him. Morgan's going to pick up that kill, and now Henna chasing down for more. Infernal Chains are going to get broken, and now Duckdom is Zeri. He's very scary, and they're looking to try and dive underneath this turret. Extendo Beam not going to connect. And Fred and Breon, I think they might be safe, but I tell a lie. Duckdom is still fighting this one out. As Henna, he doesn't get his feathers in the right place, and Morgan still has to keep umbrally dashing away.
This is a really big trade up for Damwon Kia because they will get the crash and the turret here. And this is really important because Henna is now going to be forced away from so much farm that he needs so desperately. Now, in terms of where the kills went here, not too bad for Fred and Breon. If Zeri is able to pick up every single kill and is feeling great about this fight, then you're like, oh, this is a disaster. But she only gets 1. It's otherwise traded over to Birdall, who is going to be more relevant. he's going to be more relevant than the Aatrox later on, but at least it's not an extremely fed Zeri. So this could have gone a lot better for Frederick Brion, but it's not the end of the world. As we do see the knockups here on the SHOWMAKER, he was baited in super hard, but then they stick around a bit long here. They don't know where Canyon is. He knows this because he has a control ward here. And then this fight gets very split very quickly for Frederick Brion. The teleport coming through. And Umpty gets so low here that he's just not going to be relevant in this fight. And this is where Aatrox will shine. Roberto outplays, gets the execution onto Lava. If Lava lives there and Aatrox is hitting everybody, then this is like game-ending fight for Frederick Brion. But we didn't have that fight, and Damwon Kia holding on to this early game comp as best as they can. 2 kills over now to the Akali.
And look, it's an early game comp, but if Dom gets more of these kills, I think it still wins in the late game, right? Because we've seen skirmishes so powerful as Morgan. He's going to get locked down by the Solar Flare. He's now trying to fight this one out, but it is not going to work. Unfortunately, the Aatrox ultimate does not work the same way as it used to.
No, certainly does not. And that's a huge kill. Once again, going over to the side of Damwon Kia. A 3rd kill now to Birdall. And so the Zeri is going to continue to become more and more relevant as time goes on. The weak point here really is the Lucian. And SHOWMAKER has got a nice, comfy position in this game right now. He doesn't actually have to force anything anymore. And with these last 2 exchanges, Damwon Kia have really extended the weak part of their composition's power quite a bit. Then they're going to have the late game Zeri, they're going to have the late game Akali to contend with Frederick Brion will. And Damwon Kia is suddenly putting themselves back in control.
Yep, and Birdall is a huge factor right now. 3-1-1, this Akali is not going to be ignorable. And, you know, things like the Featherstorm could just get baited out very early in this fight, and then Damwon Kia can roll over the top because the defensive tools are not there for Frederick Brion. Frederick Brion wants to try and get to these 5v5s where they can set up around the Corki rockets and pressure Damwon out. But if Damwon, if they have the full control that they were trying to get with all of these more early game power picks.
Oh man, he is in so no man's land right now.
Yeah.
Like he could not have been more out of position. He was trapped and surrounded. And that's a summoner down as well. So no flash for Morgan in this critical Drake fight, because having that gives you a lot of power around controlling where your Corki can hit his rockets, how aggressively Lava can position himself.
Speaking of which, he's got his 2-item spike. He's got the package as well. This soul point should be something that Frederick Brion have a lot of power to fight over. And it's whether what we were talking about Damwon Kia's comp, whether that can actually come to fruition, right? Whether they can get the executes. The Solar Flare immediately comes in. Great Captain Jack there from Henna. As Damwon Kia at the moment have control of this river, these rockets need to land from Lava if they want to get this.
Yeah, he needs to start hitting these, and he's got a big front line to chew through in this Volibear, in this Leona. And time is working against Frederick Brion in this fight, because the longer Dom can actually charge up here and the closer he can get to a big ult, it's going to be massive.
Yeah, these rockets, that one landing on a Kellen was a great one. Can they actually lock this down? Canyon says, absolutely not! And he secures the Drake. Damwon Kia now looking for the fight as well as Umpty's going down extremely low. SHOWMAKER grabs that kill as Lava locks down and halves the fight. Gets the kill onto SHOWMAKER here, but Henna has just been destroyed by Dom. And this could just be Zeri Gaming, and it is. He just jet set radios over the wall, and Delight is not delighted in that situation whatsoever. Lava will survive, but he will be the only one allowed to.
Morgan has kind of dropped the ball in some of these fights as well, just not able to really have any impact here as Dom wants to get Lava. Got Extendo, but he won't actually link it together there with the turret. But this was a fight that Frederick Brion had all the cards stacked in their favor in, but they couldn't pull the trigger when Damwon were trying to fight over Vision. By this stage of the fight, it's already basically too late. Birdall's on top of Lava. His package usage is phenomenal, because not only does he threaten SHOWMAKER here and put him down extremely low, but he's over the wall and in a safe position. Take SHOWMAKER out over the wall. But once Henna's down, Dom is, you know, he's basically excited, like he's gotten to the Jinx levels of this team fight where he's actually fully charged up. He's got his movement speed. He is just going to chase down and destroy everybody. The fight is lost once Damwon Kia are actually in control of the Drake. Despite some heroics from Lava there, you only get one package, and you're going to have to be hitting rockets a lot more cleanly than that in upcoming fights if you're going to want to take this game. Because right now, you find yourself 4,000 gold behind. This is no longer, oh, okay, Frederick Brion, like they're in a really nice mid-game here where they didn't fall too far behind. Now they are very far behind.
No, they definitely are. And that Hex Drinker still had to come in for Lava as well, because, of course, there is a 3-1-3 Akali. Birdall is absolutely massive in this game right now, but the 3-0-2 Zeri is the biggest problem.
Yeah, and I mean, Dom was 0-0-0 a second ago, and then in the blink of an eye, he gets his first kill, then he gets three in total, 5, you know, of the 8 kills of Damonkia's Canyon.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive-by. I like that. Just going to roll the thunder. Checking in on the Brambleback. Not going to suffer too much as Fred and Brion find themselves down 3,000 gold as we approach the 25-minute mark.
They can do this, Baron, too. I think this is not out of the question, and Fred and Brion will see this. And I think if they didn't, you finish that one, and you push them away. And if you can waste the rockets from Lava, too, before these fights start, you know, he's going to be kind of waiting for those on cooldown instead of being able to freely spam them out, which is pretty nice for you. There's a lot of ways you could threaten a Corki, too, in fights like this. Birdall has control of the top side of the map.
Yep, Control Ward, back of the pit, is just going to get cleared there by Canyon, and the map starts to go dark here for Fred and Brion.
And this allows Duckdom to freely go take the red buff. He doesn't have to be anywhere near this because he knows that Fred and Brion have very little information. SHOWMAKER will clear this ward now once again. Well, I guess he's going to play it a little bit safer there.
Yep. He's going to quarter clear it.
That's, I mean, if that ward is still up, then Fred and Brion actually get a little bit of reprieve, and that can actually back away, put Xayah in the mid lane, start farming up those minions.
Well, they are at least going to put the Xayah in the mid lane, but Canyon says no to the vision. Morgan just trying to clear out whatever he can as well. And now it's on Fred and Brion and what they're known for, which is turtling it up. Getting towards that late game, getting more items on the Corki, allowing them to find the team fights that they are going to be good at. And I think that eyes are going to be drawn to Morgan in these moments, because we need to find some value for this Aatrox, put some pressure onto Duckdom so that he can't just tidy up every single fight. Like, so far, every fight that he's been a part of, it's Duckdom that feels like he's able to run wherever the heck he wants.
And this was a concern that I had in the draft when we were on the first phase. Remember, I was like, okay, well, you know, Viego lockdown, not so great here. You know, we don't have a hard engage support like the Nautilus. We've got a Rakan who's really going to struggle unless he gets a really crazy angle, which you're not going to get when you're behind and you don't have vision. Like, how is he going to be able to ever lock Duckdom down? Like, nobody really can, so Lava has to actually put him so low with rockets or big ones in particular. If he hits a big one or, you know, big one and regular rockets onto Duckdom and force him out of the fight, then you could feel pretty good about this. Then you could feel like you can win that fight and then in the neutral. But if Duckdom just sits so far back that rockets can't even possibly hit him, how could you ever hurt him? How can you ever put him down low? And that's when the Akali starts to become a big problem. That's when Lucian becomes a big problem.
Yeah, and also the 3 items that Zeri now has are a very big problem. As we can see, close to 2,000 gold in the lead is Duckdom. It's the perfect place for the Damonkia money to be at. 5,000 gold is approximately their lead right now. There's 20 seconds on the next Drake. Soul Point available for both teams. And it looks like Damonkia, with all of the pressure that they found themselves around this map, it's not looking like they're going to get all that contested.
Kellen's
Drake is spawning.
This game has been so good, and he has nothing to fear because it's a Corki comp. Aatrox isn't going to be able to blow him up. Aatrox is never really near where he is. He's just clearing wards so well and aggressively positioning. And this just means that Fred and Brion don't have vision, as we talked about, and they can't see where the rest of Damonkia is if they're sitting on the edge of this river and that choke point, you know, and this just allows Canyon to go, okay, well, I'm taking this, you guys can group up, or rather not group up, split up across these lanes. Birdall pushing bottom, Zeri getting that mid push, and she pushes lanes very quickly. She has insane wave clear at the stage. And so with no vision here for Fred and Brion, they're not even able to wrap around and punish Duckdom, nor could they try to challenge Canyon doing the Drake. If you look at the full picture of the map, it's like, wow, Canyon's just going to do that by himself? Well, not really, because his team's pushing 2 lanes, and they removed all the vision, so it's a realistic option for him.
Yeah. Zerilda's almost done here for Henna, as well as having 3 items now complete for Lava. That more of Malmortius has now come in. But it feels like Fred and Brion really have slowed down in this game. You're starting to see where the win conditions are going to be coming from for Damonkia. Birdall, this powerful, should be able to execute Lava in the backline. Duckdom, going to be so hard for Fred and Brion to lock him down when Morgan has been struggling this much in the game.
Yeah, and at this stage, too, with how much money Canyon's picked up, like, he's so tanky, he can just frontline against the Aatrox. Like, he's not afraid of the Aatrox. Kellen's not afraid of the Aatrox. So, unfortunately, Morgan is just kind of a piece of cardboard in this game now at this stage. You know, he's not going to be able to threaten anybody, and he needs to help set up for Rocket's landing here. And Lava just so far has not been hitting those because he doesn't have vision.
Yeah, well, that one's going to land. That one did a lot of damage. A gentle reminder that Corki is still Corki. as they hold on to the aggro of this Baron. Henna throwing feathers in now. This poke damage is what Fredibreon's composition does rely on a lot of the time. Solar Flare is going to get avoided by Lava as he Valkyries his way out. And Damonki are going to back away from the Baron. So Fredibreon, they do get what they wanted. Not going to win any fights just yet. Just get a bit of a tempo advantage around this mid lane.
Yeah.
As Henna slowed down, Kellen finding the flank here as Canyon goes in, then jumps all the way back out. SHOWMAKER now trying to get to the back line. Immediately he's going to get locked down. Great quickness, but Delight is going to fall down. They get SHOWMAKER, but once again, can they win the follow-up fight? And the answer, especially said by Dr. is going to be absolutely not.
Nope, definitely not. And that is very likely to be the team fight that wins the game for Damwon Kia. They played it out so patiently. They forced Fredibreon to come to them. And what Fredibreon's composition does so well with this quirky composition, with an Aatrox and the front line that they have with the Viego, is defend objectives. But when they don't have control and they don't have vision, and they have to be the ones walking towards a turning Damwon Kia, their composition is at its ultimate weakest, at that point. And that's why you see them struggle, as Lava's going to come over here. They're going to maybe look for a steal.
Yeah, he's got a package. But there is an Akali waiting around here, as Lava is going to do so much damage, it's absurd. Solar Flare connects as well, as the Baron is down to about 1,000 health. The Force Bomb comes in, but Canyon is going to be able to find the smite. Package delivered to Bertle. He's in the cage, doesn't have anywhere to run, and he is going to deny Umpty an assist as he does fall down. But Akali for Baron, I think Damwon Kia are kind of okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at how, many ways there are to punish this from what Fredibreon is doing here. Canyon can ult out, and then Dr. is like, oh, you already got him low for me, SHOWMAKER? Cool. And look at where Morgan is in this fight. If he's in with all those low health bars and Lava's able to hit rockets behind him, this Aatrox looks great. And a 1v1 against a fed Dr. not so much on the other side of things. And it was a big overextension for Fredibreon. I think they're starting to lose out a little bit in terms of discipline here on how they're playing this quirky comp, because the pressure is real. Like, Damwon Kia really putting the screws in by starting this Baron up repeatedly. And yes, Bertle will get punished here a little bit for some aggressive positioning, but as you said, they're very happy to take the rest of the 4 Baron buffs, the gold that comes with it, and now the pushing power that should lead to some inhibitor turret damage at the very least.
And now SHOWMAKER, happy to chill here towards the top side, putting extra pressure on. Some resets and everything like that, so SHOWMAKER can't push up too far, but they've got so much vision that he can feel safe while he does so.
Spirit Visage done here for Canyon. He is just so unkillable this game. And because he can tank so many of those rockets, I mean, Lava is not able to really hit priority targets. He needs to be hitting the Zeri and or the Akali, which he has hit the Akali several times as we've seen. But if he can't lock them down, if Morgan can't then follow up and engage, then Damwon Kia just kind of brute force their way through these team fights, because Lucian is still fed. He's still relevant. He's not going to be able to do as much damage as Harry this game, but he's going to do enough to threaten Lava.
If he gets his IE, this is going to be exactly where SHOWMAKER wants, even though he's eaten all of all of Fredibreon just want to kill SHOWMAKER. And yes, to their credit, they have done that. They may lose their Nexus, however, they can hold their heads high. They killed SHOWMAKER multiple times in these fights. They're looking to try and do it again. Heartbreaker goes forward, Umpty just immediately explodes. Dr. there with the follow-up. Delight has to get out of there as Bertle dives in and then looks really cool, and then we'll walk away.
And I think that what we executed here, or what Damwon executed here to Fredibreon, what we watched them execute is a control of the mid to late game extremely well, because there were times where we were worried for Damwon Kia, ooh, they don't have enough control, they didn't get enough of a lead. But then they do what Damwon do best, and they fought out some team fights really well. They used their compositions, win conditions extremely well. They forced setups on Baron, where Fredibreon had to respond, and then they were put into bad positions on the map. Damwon Kia got enough of a lead there on Dukdam through those team fights that this game is just, unfortunately, completely off the rails now for Fredibreon. There's no good plays to make.
Yep. As Bertle's going to dive over the wall, Morgan taking a lot of damage here. And man, the amount of turret destruction Damwon Kia are capable of right now. They have Infernal Soul, triple Infernal Drake on top of it. Their stats are ballooned out of control. And this is a composition that's absolutely snowballed the way they needed it to. It didn't come about like you were talking about, right? We were a little bit skeptical about the early game control, but it's a mid-game comp. Maybe we shouldn't have been too worried. It might have been the fact that this team just got 2-0'd by Fredibreon.
Look at Umpty just get 100-0'd by...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, SHOWMAKER just looking at him. He's like, I am 4 levels up on you, mind you, and I will kill you. He was a vulnerable Lucian in the early game. Not anymore. We're not at that stage. Fredit could drag this game out a little bit longer, but it's the Elder flip that you're hoping for if you're a Fredit fan here in this one. But the chances seem so slim considering all the different ways Damwon Kia could shut this out, how difficult it is for Fredit to set up on the Elder for a fight like that.
And this is the first time I've really liked the Black Cleaver on the Zeri as well, because now you've got a crit 80 carry in the mid lane.
Yes.
So Dogtarm is able to augment that damage even further by being able to stack it up so extraordinarily quickly. Zeri, pretty cool how she can do that. And Dogtarm just having the time of his life. Kellen taking a lot of damage though, as SHOWMAKER trying to get some poke in there. Fredit are able to bully some control over the Fnatic brush here on the top side. Otherwise, not too much more. And when we're celebrating, holding onto a control ward in a brush, as like that's the cool thing Fredit did, you know that they're pretty far behind.
Damwon Kia are in a position in this game where if all they have to do to win the game is take Elder. And so they could just push these waves out.
Oh no, is it another Elder flip game?
All they have to do is just push waves, and then in 4 minutes time set up on the Elder first, and do the same thing they did on the Baron fight and force Fredit to walk towards them, and they just won't be able to do it. Fredit have to somehow wrestle control away. So Fredit have to now like look for a pick, and you know, hopefully for them, like a little bit closer to the spawn of the Elder Drake, you know, maybe 90 seconds beforehand, look for a pick.
Yep. Well, Ravenous Hydra completed for Lava. That's 4 items on the Corki. He does a lot of poke damage, but there's no stopwatch or anything like that. He's vulnerable.
No survivability. Speaking of which, SHOWMAKER.
Yeah, lying in wait. Fast bomb comes down. Umpty is going to check the brush. SHOWMAKER not going to go in alone or anything like that. Going to play it safe for now. Baron spawning, 25 seconds time. Damwon Kia could use that to buy a lot of control around the Elder. Notice
how Damwon Kia are grouped up for it already. They had SHOWMAKER set up there to flank and also to control this zone of vision. Fredit haven't been able to make a dent in it. And this is the same sort of problem that I was talking about before on the Elder. It applies earlier here on Baron.
Yeah, Umpty gonna have to dash his way out as Canyon actually doing a fair bit of damage. The SHOWMAKER does even more damage by like a large margin.
He has a stopwatch too. SHOWMAKER does some plays like this and the hide in the bush that he was doing earlier. Not really very risky, in fact. He has a get out of jail free card if he is caught or if Fredit turn on him, and that will buy enough time for his team to collapse in and take that subsequent team fight. I mean, this is the worst place for Lava to be. He's like firing rockets blind. He's about to run out.
Yeah, SHOWMAKER gonna get tagged by one of them. Wasn't a big one. Does have one lined up now as Solar Flare is immediately gonna get cleansed, but Henna can't cleanse a whole host of damage. The culling comes down and he has to flash, but Delight not gonna be so lucky as the Zyra is gonna limp her way to the fountain, but that is gonna give Damwon Kia all of the control that they need. And they kill Baron so fast at this stage of the game, it is absurd.
Yep, and they will certainly do that. Exactly that. They just walk back over here. And for Fredit there's nothing really more to scale for on the Corki here. You know, you have your 4 items online. It's not going to get better from here. What you really need is vision, and that's not something that killing minions can buy for you. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to say, well, I'd like to give Forrest 2,000 gold to be able to see what's going on. You're not going to be able to see what's going on. Damwon Kia are not going to give you any opportunities for that. 90 seconds to go before this Elder Drake, and they're going to have wave control now because they got the Baron buff. This is just so much long-range engage, actually. We talked about how Zeri could be very low-range. I mean, she
Delight. Given his life for his 80 carry, you love to see it, but it is heartbreaking. That could be just a real dead Umpty. He is going to use his stopwatch, but Bertle is lurking. Nice little sidestep. I don't think it's going to quite be enough, as Umpty does have a shield, and he is going to survive, so never you mind. Fantastic little escape there from Umpty. They'll probably still lose the game, but it was a really cool little escape.
Now, you know, you could see the power of Zeri at the late game. We've talked about it so much, but when she's this fed, even her extendo beam is like deadly, because if you slow somebody and then walk forward and start doing that damage, like you can actually 1v1 anybody. You can 1v2 almost anybody on Fredit. Like, you're not even scared of the Aatrox anymore.
I mean,
you never really were. You never really were, to be frank, past like maybe the first 15 minutes of the game. And Damwon Kia, like I said, all they have to do is push waves, don't overextend, go and kill the Elder. 30 seconds for that, and that is your win condition. Then you could just walk down the mid lane.
Yeah, and actually, you probably just want to make sure that you completely block off Fredit so that they can't even walk over and try and flip for it, because we know that this is a team that really likes flipping for Elders. And I don't think that Damwon Kia are going to give them the opportunity to actually do so. Umpty very, very low. Damwon moving down now towards this river. They want to get on this as quickly as possible as the extendo beams. Feels like the Zeri's doing more poke damage than the Corki, which just seems completely ridiculous to me.
She basically is at this point. She's hitting them more consistently than Lava's hitting his. The SHOWMAKER is found.
Yeah, and Delight actually going to flash on top of the Zeri. She takes a fair bit of damage, but does get to relative safety. The ulti comes through, and now Doctorm creates enough space. Bertel is going to lock down the kill on the Viego, and now, with everything invested, trying to kill the Zeri, that didn't work. It's going to be game over here for Fredeprion. Damwon Kia execute their more early focused composition so beautifully around the Akali, around the Zeri, and now they'll move to 1-0 in this best of 5. I don't think Fredeprion are going to leave Zeri up again.
I do not think so. I do not think so, and I think some of the ways they banned on red side were a little bit suspect considering how strong Zeri is. Maybe they didn't expect to see Duckdom pick it up in first position, but Damwon Kia drafted around it so well. And even though the draft was very freestyle, we had a lot of questions about how it was going to function in a real game on the Rift. SHOWMAKER